Xtracycle just made a huge move this week with a new bike to keep itself relevant in the growing cargo bike market. That new bike is the Xtracycle Hopper Midtail electric cargo bike. The price is $2,999, but you can save $500 if you pre-order it before October 13th. This is a budget-minded cargo bike. Anything under $4,000 is, with a hub drive e-bike motor and a Class 2 throttle. But looking at the details, you can see that it's still very much an Xtracycle, except they now have an aluminum frame and suspension fork. Historically, they've always used steel with a solid front fork. Xtracycle is arguably the founder of rear-loading cargo bikes. Ross Evans, creator of Xtracycle, didn't invent the rear-loading cargo bike, but he did bring it to the mass market. Their freeloader attachment was even my entry to cargo bikes almost 2 decades ago. So hey, if you're new here, welcome. I'm Arlie, aka Bike Shop Girl. I owned a cargo bike shop until COVID, worked for a large cargo bike brand, and now I'm a full-time content creator helping get more families on bikes to leave the car and home a little bit more. So let's dig into some of the details of this bike, and as a cargo bike expert, I'll share with you my initial thoughts. Some of the key details. The price is $2,999, but you can save $500 if you pre-order it before October 13th. This includes some key essential accessories as part of the purchase price, like the front porter rack, which attaches actually to the frame, so it's nice and sturdy, and the hoopty rear railing. So if you're carrying passengers, you either need to buy a pad or a rear seat. It has 20-inch wheels front and rear, which is new for Xtracycle. It has a really cool suspension dropper seat post. And the e-bike system is that rear hub drive with a torque sensor. And it's made by Xtracycle. It is UL 2849. It's a Class 2, which means it has a throttle assistance up to 20 miles per hour. But some of their marketing says that the bike can go up to 28 miles per hour. So I'm interested to test ride it to see how that feels. The warranty is 5 years on the frame and fork for defects, which is by far the best for this price point and direct consumer bikes. And it's 2 years on the e-bike system. Some of the finer details that stand out to me outside of their press release and website is that this is Xtracycle's second midtail. The first is the RFA with a steel frame and 24-inch wheels. If you know me from my bike shop days, I love the Xtracycle RFA. It has this unique modular rear rack that allows it to go from a midtail cargo bike to shortening it up when you switch out that rear rack to a short tail. The RFA is a great alternative to the GSD because the ride is smoother with the steel frame and the fatter 24-inch wheels. But the 24-inch wheels also means that your step through, so how you step onto the bike, is higher, and your passengers on the bike, on the back, are higher off the ground, bringing that weight also up higher with your center of gravity. I already mentioned that it has an aluminum frame with a suspension fork, and this is completely new for Xtracycle. There's a claimed 500 pounds, which I just don't know how they're claiming this. I assume it's just for the frame because I know several of the components are not rated to this weight capacity. So just something to think about when they say 500 pounds. I'm pretty sure it's just the frame. So why does this bike matter and why am I sitting here in my workshop making a video about it? I have not tested out the bike yet, and I want to keep getting that disclaimer out of the way. But what I can speak to is Xtracycle. A handful of brands have dedicated themselves to cargo bikes and growing the family biking market. Xtracycle has been doing this since the beginning. They're originators, and they did burn themselves out a bit. When you're the first one and pushing for those early adopters, you're really scrappy and doing your best with not a lot of market. They were bought out a couple of years ago by good people, the owners of Priority Bikes, and they're working on reinventing themselves as a great direct-to-consumer option to get more people out of cars and onto bikes. I tell you all this because you won't find them in many dealers these days. Their business model just doesn't give a ton of margin to make that happen. And unfortunately, they did burn some dealers in the middle there, but hopefully they're making that right and we'll see more dealers popping up. So this bike is priced right, with the right parts and accessories compatible with their other cargo bikes that have been on the market for years. They have great customer service. Say hello to Marie Claire. If the Hopper rides decently and the motor and battery can last 2 to 4 years, this is going to be a knock out of the park for Xtracycle. It's giving folks looking to test out the cargo bike life on a budget or maybe don't have a good cargo bike shop nearby. This should shake things up a bit with the Aventon Abound and Radwagon. I look forward to test riding one for a couple of 100 miles to really see how the bike performs and how the motor and e-bike system last, and I'll be back for a full review. If you want to save $500, make sure to pre-order one before October 13th. I'll put a link in the description, and I'll also put a link to my article version of this because I'm going to add to it as Xtracycle answers some more of my questions. If you've made it this far, hit subscribe and let me know what you think of this bike in the comments. I always love hearing from you, and it does go a long way to show this video to others. Thanks so much for watching, and until next time, stay well, stay good, and remember to get on your bike and leave the car at home when you can.